Okay, 5 minutes. Well, how do you like my temporary tattoo hands? They're not real tattoos. A few people have messaged me to ask me about my new tattoos, but they're not new. Well, they're new, but they're not real. I bought a temporary tattoo marker off Shopee that I thought would be fun to play with, and it is fun to play with, although getting it to come out right is a little bit difficult. As you can see, even these ones are kind of smudgy in a few areas, and that's because after you do the tattoo, if you get any kind of water on it, like because you're washing dishes or whatever, it'll smudge really easy. So it came with a pack of these like adhesives that you put over the the drawing, the tattoo that you do after you do it, which will cover it and keep it from smudging throughout the day. And you're supposed to leave it there for at least a day, which I did for these ones. And if you do that and you don't get any water on it, it actually is pretty cool, and it'll last like this for uh, at least 2 weeks, pretty solid. That's with showers, water on the hands, everything, and about like 3 weeks total, I think. I'm not really sure. Depends. I think 2 weeks, about, I'll say, it'll last. But yeah, when I first got the marker, I didn't realize you needed to use these adhesives over it to make it set properly. Why I didn't know that, I don't know. The marker didn't come with any instructions, actually. It's just the marker, and then there were these sticky things. I actually thought that the adhesives were a kind of stencil because I I looked up on YouTube these, like, how to use a temporary tattoo marker, since mine didn't come with any instructions. And there's a bunch of videos on YouTube showing people using these markers, but a lot of them would show how their kit came with stencil paper that you would use to kind of put on your skin and then trace out a tattoo. Kind of complicated, but that's what I thought it was, so I didn't use it. But then the art work that I would make would never really come out that well, and it wouldn't last that long. Sometimes I do it and it would just wash off completely, almost immediately. So yeah, I just at some point realized that these adhesives were not actually stencils, but meant to protect it. So, anyways, I've been trying again, and so far so good, except for the fact that I put the adhesives on, and I think these ones blurred a bit because I washed a few dishes, and water got on the adhesive on the top and bottom, and then there you go. And then once that happens, it's done. Same with this one here, right on the edge. I got some water, and so it's like that. Huh, it's funny. When I look at it, when I look at it on my arm, just like this bottom one looks straight. But when I look at it in the video, it looks like it's off. That's interesting. So, would I want it to look right for the video, or when I'm looking at it on my hand? Anyways, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It, you know, it definitely looks like I drew on myself with marker, you know, more so, I think, than it looks like an actual tattoo. Maybe that's due to my drawing skills. I think it's also due to the fact that the tip of the marker is not that fine, so you can't really do fine lines, this kind of thing, which gives it the marker feel. But in terms of just playing around with something, it's kind of fun. You know, I've always been, I've always been into tattoos. I have a bunch of them, you know, on my chest, on my arms, and I've thought about getting more tattoos, but at the same time, I sometimes feel like I'm also maybe over that a bit. Um, you know, there's the reality that sometimes, you know, I'd say like I'm fine with most of my tattoos, but there are definitely, you know, quite a few tattoos I have that um, I wish I didn't have anymore. And I would get rid of it if I could do that easily and for free, which I can't. So I'm going to have those tattoos forever. But I've been a little bit more mindful then about what I'm going to get tattooed on my body, since it'll be there for however many days I have left. Could be many, could be few. We don't know. But anyways, been having fun playing with that. Looks pretty cool. Um, I'd like to be able to do something bigger or maybe have somebody do one for me, but I don't the adhesive pads that you need to protect it are pretty small, and I don't have that many of them. And I don't know what to use when I run out either. So that's a conundrum that I'll have to solve someday. Anyways, that's my 5 minutes. Definitely not what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about being really tired today and go on a rant about being tired. But instead, we talked about temporary tattoos. So there we go. Temporary tattoos. Happy Friday. It's cold and rainy in Taipei, probably most of Taiwan. Hope the weather is good where you are.